The Ted Williams experience, after being discovered by a journalist, his lovely voice, and then we learned of all the special training and all that he had. He was a soldier and everything else. And, at least serving his country is noble and, and so forth. But I believe that, there's a part of the ongoing problem. We spend our resources sort of, just where there seems to be a lot of glamour and glitz as opposed to real term growth and development and everything like that. Now, does this guy deserve a chance? A second chance? I guess as a soldier, he has given his life, and perhaps the experience has, traumatized him and caused him to do things that we all flung on, but it's happening also to people who weren't soldiers. So I'm not sure if we could add all that blame on the soldiering. But young people, we want to encourage them to stay in school, do the right thing, but you hardly hear of a guy who has done the right thing that really succeeds. There's a bunch of losers that, either some drug head or some jailbird or somebody escaped from, from death row and comes back, write books and telling us how to live and all this kind of stuff. And I think that's a part of the problem. We have that case getting a moment in the sun and they play on it and then they end up making all the money in the world. And people who are working and have regular lives won't get nothing. I no wonder, everybody's trying that game. Everybody's playing crazy and hope to get a sun, a little 50 minutes in the sun. So enter Ted Williams. Now, we're going through all this trauma with him. He's going in rehab. He's exhibiting, peculiarities, this and that, and we falling off. I don't follow this guy. I mean, praise the Lord, we discovered he makes some money, but there are other things I want to think about. All right? And he's an old man. He's wasted most of his life. I mean, what he has to offer. And then on the other hand, he has such a special voice. Look how he rolls his voice and making an announcement. I don't need that. All I need is the information. All that stuff he going on with, that's not important as far as I'm concerned. You see Hollywood, they have these people and make all this money. Why don't we get people from the best schools, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Berkeley, and we just appreciate what they do. Just do your best, brother. And I'm sure that people that have character, that also have talents that if we really search, we find comparable to these people who, and even superior to the people that we're trying to idolize, who have lost and coming again. And I've discovered this, that if you pick up somebody from the Skid Row, the down and out there, almost to die, and you say, hey brother or sister, you were made to be good and important, and you get him a big job. You be the president of this big company over here. You give credit card, you give him all that power, authority, you give him, nice house also, the big shots and all that stuff, membership in all these clubs and whatever. And you check him back 50 years. He hasn't done nothing, but he stayed right there. He might develop more problems now. He's a womanizer. He's a high-time drug user because he has big bucks, doing a lot of crime, stealing money from the company and all that stuff. All right. So when you say, hey, bro, we thank you very much. We want to try something new. And good luck, son. The experiences you got, maybe you could go and open your own business. Bye. See you. In about 2 weeks, you end up back on Skid Row again. So, I mean, you're just wasting time. Maybe better you take some little child who is poor, parents can't afford that, and supplement them, get them some money, talk to the guys, take them out, show them, different things, teach them things that, to swim, to, go to manufacturing places, how to be confident, yada, 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 scouting and so on, trips overseas and so forth, see how people live in the third world, and groom them to be somebody important. I think that I'm not going to hold my breath on Mr. Ted Williams. He has to have counselor and all this stuff. But you see, the funny thing with these people, they don't understand the deal here. When a person put the hand in Satan's hand and he's destroying him and beating him up, there's nothing we could come to do to rescue that guy. So only God could rescue him. Now, here's the journalist that rescued him. I don't know how much money he made out of the whole deal and so forth. But, it's like, it's just in exchange where he was for something new, something else. In other words, here's a person that was suicidal. He was on the brink of committing suicide out there. We saved him, and guess what he's doing? He's doing heroin and drugs, and perverting young people's lives. Or he might start robbing the bank. So they're just exchanging one evil for a lesser evil, or evil in different genre, or in different sector, in a different industry or whatever. I know of, yeah, I have a variety of experiences in this thing here. But in LA, there was this guy who was a gangbanger. And somehow he got in touch with the police and tell him, and he able to get a good maybe agent and tell him, oh, he do that no more. He's a good man and change and all this stuff. And they gave him a big job. He's supposed to, help intervene into gang stuff and so forth. So in my view, I mean, I wouldn't even talk to this guy because he hasn't showed me where he has exchanged his hand from Satan's hand and put in God's hand, and that's key. If he could show that and genuinely did it, not no games knowing that, oh, we need to hear that the thing that happened the hand and put in God's hand. I ain't playing that kind of game. So listen to what. So all he did now, he got a car, he getting a good check, he got some office he got to check into. He's introduced now to the middle class and to some people. He got himself a nice girlfriend. Maybe she is going to university, probably she's an attorney, maybe she has a good job. And I was thinking in terms of, oh, I'm so important, he's in middle class now. As opposed to this guy, even the guy that I said promoted, what he should have done is gone to school, try to take care of his health that he neglected in the past, get an education. So by the time the 15 years the man came and checking in, he could have had a doctorate, he could have had, years of successful intervening in the community doing things. But, things that, oh man, I was hidden talent, you know what I mean? So this guy, basically, I'm saying that, this gangbanger that ended up, with us all this kind of flash and all that. So one day he and his girlfriend driving down the road, and he saw somebody doing graffiti. So he pulled over the car and gone confronting the guy with the graffiti. And I don't know what else he tried to do, I can't remember the article, but the guy ended up pulling a gun to his waist and shot him to death. So he had been a gangbanger, but he forgot what happens in gangbanging. And thinking in terms of he's middle class and he's so important and he's just thinking that everything is good and everybody's nice out there, forgetting how he used to behave, and this is the way people are still behaving. I mean, with me, I would back up and say, hey brother, come on man, let's go and get something to eat, man, and so on, and talk about stuff, and maybe try to show him right in there that, man, this thing is causing the city a lot, this graffiti and something. You can't approach this guy. And then on the other hand, being a gangbanger, as I'm approaching this guy, I'm gonna survey him. I'm gonna look at all one way he could have a gun, go around and see if he has one in his back, his pants, see if his front bulging, on his shoulder, over here where they wear guns, on the chest over there. I had to look around to see if he has a gun. Talk to him about weapons and so, man, I like a weapon to buy my, I could give me a gun. You have any gun with you, man, but then you might think you're a cop and Lego you anyway. But the deal is this, though, that this guy did not do the right things. Stopping gangbang was good, but did he go and seek mental help and understand what his problem was? I think basically put his hand in the Lord's hand and will solve all that. But then, did he make other things like seeking professional help? Trying to get a GED, trying to go to college? Oh no, he's right now, he's big shot, he's middle class, he got a nice girlfriend and talking out, I'm gonna go on cruise and all that big life. And the fella just shot him out there like a piece of crap. So with this Ted Williams, he has all these things now to go, all these kids he neglected, all these relationships he kind of threw to the bus and everything else. So much problems, man. Meet some young boy that's struggling, his parents on Skid Row on the verge of collapsing, and you could just tell this guy a way. When I was growing up, if somebody had showed me a way how I could make some money during the summers, that would be good. I would have been able to go to high school, pay my high school way. I might have gone to Harvard, to London, Oxford, or Cambridge, but nobody came over and gave me that kind of idea. I discovered it on my own, and I went on and still get my stuff together. But this is what I think we ought to be doing. Look for the young people. When an old person, you discover an old person that is doing wrong, and they decide to change, wish them well and say, go and live the rest of your life and show your grandkids how to live. But you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on them because you're just wasting time. Because they want to play that game and then they're going back at nights and whenever you're not watching to do the same stuff, they're talking that they leave and so on. Talk to this child who hasn't started. I think that's a good way to be. So the Ted Williams experience, I think that we need to refocus and understand that, everybody's important, but look, when a person is 50, 60, we are discovering new for them. When you have babies, when you have young children who need somebody to just frown on them, just show them a different way, talk to them nice, give them some hints, maybe pay for some lessons or something, buy a book for them or so, something that they could use as it were to improve. I think that's better than following up these losers, man.